Let's talk about the week's developments in Washington and elsewhere. And for that, we turn to Priscilla Alvarez, politics editor and writer at The Atlantic. Priscilla, good morning.
Good morning.
Let's talk first about this devastating climate assessment. We're about to have a Democratic House with a new agenda. How do you think this is going to factor into that?
This is really going to fire up progressives, and we've already seen that in the wake of the report. So we have Representative-elect Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez has made this a big part of her agenda. She came into Congress earlier this month already asking for an expansive plan to address climate change. In a tweet, she's pressing this forward a little more, asking for a select committee on climate change. So remember, Democrats are going to helm a lot of committees like House Energy and Commerce Committee and the House Science Committee, and they're likely going to make this a big priority moving into the new Congress.
But the president doesn't sound like he's going to budge on this.
No, he wants to move toward deregulating, and he's done that already with Obama-era rules, scaling them back, which had been to address other issues with climate change like greenhouse emissions. But so far, progressives are really going to push forward, and this is something they came into Congress wanting to tackle.
There are other issues also for the president, though, the idea of the border wall. And when you look at the House, how difficult is it going to be for the president to get his agenda through now going forward?
So the president has repeatedly asked for money for his funding wall, and he hasn't, for his border wall, I should say, and he hasn't had much luck. And he's in a very tricky situation now because Democrats are going to take the House, and they're going to be less willing to negotiate on the border wall. Now, there are some issues that have come up. We have the legislation for protecting Bob Mueller. We also have the question, citizenship question that they want to strip from the 2020 census. So these are things that are likely to come up in negotiations, but they're in a tough spot because Democrats are really just going to want to move forward with this. Senate Democrats have said they're willing to give $1.6 billion, but that's still shy of the $5 billion. So the confrontation will come to a head before that December 7th date.
Meanwhile, as the Democrats get set to take control of the House, Nancy Pelosi is facing some leadership challenges. She doesn't seem to have a clear opponent at this point, but how secure is she?
Well, this Wednesday, we're going to have the closed-door caucus vote. And so she just needs a simple majority to be nominated as the nominee for the speaker position. And there's not much difficulty that we see arising there, but rather in January, she's going to need the majority, 218 votes, to really take the gavel. And the clear advantage here is that there really is no alternative. Those who had considered a potential bid for speaker, like Representative Marcia Fudge, now supports Pelosi. And so that's what, and again, it's a long time until January. Yeah. So that's a lifetime in politics. And she's going to be brokering deals with Democrats who oppose her.
And what's the overall agenda for Democrats? What does that look like?
Primarily investigations. That's going to be a big part of this. Remember, they're going to have helming the House Intelligence Committee, the House Oversight Committee, the House Foreign Affairs Committee. They have subpoena power now. They can pressure the administration to turn over documents. And so that's going to be a big part of the agenda. And other issues like climate change will surely come up among progressives and possibly immigration reform down the line.
Quickly, will it have an impact? Yes or no?
It's going to pressure the administration. It's not going to be a fun time for President Trump.
All right. News every day, as it has been. Priscilla Alvarez, thank you.
Thank you.
And tomorrow morning on Face the Nation here on CBS, Margaret Brennan's guests will include independent Senators Bernie Sanders of Vermont and Angus King of Maine.